At a rooftop party in Miami, billionaire Damian Vega jokes he'll marry the first woman who can truly pole dance. He never expects the catering maid, Nia Carter, to step forward and change both of their lives forever. Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you are watching from today. The Miami sun was setting over the ocean, casting an orange glow through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Damian Vega's penthouse. At 32, Damian had everything money could buy: a real estate empire worth millions, a sleek glass penthouse with views that made visitors gasp, and parties that were the talk of the city's elite. Tonight was no different. Beautiful people filled every corner of his rooftop terrace. Women in tight dresses and men in designer suits laughed too loudly at jokes that weren't funny. The champagne flowed as freely as the compliments. Damian stood by the bar, running a hand through his dark hair. His tailored suit fit his athletic body perfectly. Despite being surrounded by Miami's most beautiful people, he looked bored. "Another successful party," said Marcus, his business partner, clapping him on the shoulder. "Though I don't know why you bother. These people only care about your money." Damian shrugged. "It's good for business. And good for your reputation as Miami's most eligible bachelor," Marcus added with a smirk. Before Damian could respond, a woman in a red dress approached. Sophia Miller, a local Instagram celebrity known for dating wealthy men. "Damian, darling," she purred, placing a manicured hand on his arm. "When are you going to settle down? Half the women in Miami are waiting for you to pick a wife." Several women nearby turned, clearly interested in his answer. Damian wasn't used to being cornered like this, and he didn't like it. "You think I should get married?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. "Of course. You need someone to share all this with." Sophia gestured around the luxurious space. Damian looked at the crowd gathering around them. These people attended his parties, ate his food, drank his champagne, but none of them knew him. Not really. "Fine," he said suddenly, his voice carrying across the terrace. "If any woman here can pole dance like she owns the world, I'll marry her. Tonight." The crowd erupted in laughter and excited whispers. Everyone thought it was just another rich man's game. Sophia's eyes lit up. "You're serious?" "Dead serious," Damian replied, though he wasn't. He just wanted to end this conversation. The crowd's attention shifted to the decorative pole that stood in the center of the rooftop terrace, an artistic piece that doubled as a structural support. Several women glanced at it nervously. "Who's brave enough?" someone called out. In the kitchen, away from the party, Nia Carter wiped her forehead with the back of her hand. At 27, she was used to long days. This was her second shift today, and her feet were killing her. But she needed the money. Dance conservatory classes weren't cheap, and her 16-year-old sister Amina back in Atlanta counted on her support. "Water break, Nia," said Jorge, the catering manager. "Then we need more champagne flutes on the terrace." Nia nodded, grateful for the momentary rest. She took a long drink of water and checked her phone. A text from Amina. "How's the party of the rich and famous? Any celebrities?" Nia smiled and texted back. "Just the usual crowd, people with more money than sense." She slipped her phone back into her pocket and grabbed a tray of clean glasses. As she walked toward the terrace, she heard the commotion. Everyone was gathered around the center of the space, cheering and laughing. "Come on, Lisa! You can do better than that!" someone shouted. Nia carefully set down her tray and peered through the crowd. A woman was awkwardly trying to climb the decorative pole in the center of the terrace, her dress riding up as she struggled. "What's going on?" Nia asked Maria, another server. "The host said he'd marry any woman who can pole dance well," Maria explained, rolling her eyes. "Now they're all making fools of themselves." Nia's attention shifted to Damian, who stood watching with an amused smirk on his face. She'd seen him around during her shifts, but they'd never spoken. He was handsome, she had to admit, but there was something cold about the way he watched these women embarrass themselves for his entertainment. Another woman tried and failed, sliding down the pole clumsily. The crowd roared with laughter. "This is ridiculous," said Damian, checking his watch. "I guess no one's getting married tonight." Something inside Nia snapped. She had spent years perfecting her art, competing in pole dancing competitions, not in clubs but in proper athletic events where it was respected as the demanding art form it was. To see it reduced to this spectacle made her blood boil. Before she could think better of it, Nia stepped forward, removing her serving jacket to reveal the simple black tank top underneath. "I'll do it," she said, her voice clear and confident. The crowd parted, murmurs of surprise rippling through the guests. Damian turned, his eyes widening slightly as he took in the beautiful maid he'd barely noticed before. You? He asked, genuinely surprised. Yes, me. Nia walked toward the pole, her head held high. Unless you're afraid I might win your little challenge, the guests whispered and giggled. Who was this maid to speak to Damien Vega like that? Damien raised an eyebrow, intrigued despite himself. The floor is yours. Nia kicked off her work shoes and approached the pole. It had been months since she'd practiced, but some things your body never forgets. Can we get some real music? She called out. Someone changed the playlist. As the first deep beats filled the air, Nia closed her eyes for a moment, centering herself. Then she grabbed the pole. What happened next left everyone speechless. Nia moved with strength and grace that defied gravity. Her body twisted and turned, climbing the pole effortlessly, then hanging upside down with only her legs gripping the metal. Each move flowed into the next, powerful, controlled, and breathtakingly beautiful. She didn't dance for them. She didn't smile or wink or try to be sexy. She simply showed them what the human body was capable of when trained with discipline and artistry. When she finally slid down to stand on her feet again, the entire rooftop was silent. No one clapped. No one laughed. They just stared, jaws open in shock. Damien stood frozen, his glass halfway to his lips, his eyes fixed on Nia. "What's your name?" he finally asked, his voice unusually hoarse. Nia straightened her tank top and looked him directly in the eyes. "You didn't ask before. You were too busy mocking women who've had to fight for their grace." The guests gasped at her boldness. "So who are you?" Damien pressed, ignoring the audience around them. "The woman who just reminded you how real femininity moves," Nia replied. Then she turned, picked up her serving jacket, and walked back toward the kitchen, leaving everyone, especially Damien, stunned. In the kitchen, Jorge rushed up to her. "Are you crazy? You can't talk to clients like that, especially not Damien Vega." "Fire me if you have to," Nia said, her hands shaking slightly from adrenaline. "I'm not apologizing." Jorge ran a hand over his face. "Just stay in the kitchen for the rest of the night, okay?" Nia nodded and grabbed a dish towel, trying to steady her racing heart. What had she done? She needed this job. Back on the terrace, the party had resumed, but Damien couldn't focus on his guests anymore. His eyes kept drifting to the kitchen door. "Who is she?" he asked Jorge, when the catering manager came to check on the bar supplies. Jorge hesitated. "Her name is Nia Carter. She's one of our best workers. Please don't ask me to fire her." "She just... fire her?" Damien interrupted. "Why would I want that?" "Because of what happened earlier." "I'm not firing anyone," Damien said firmly. "But I would like to speak with her before she leaves tonight." Jorge nodded nervously and returned to the kitchen to relay the message. When Nia heard that Damien wanted to see her, she sighed. "If he thinks he can mock me or proposition me, he's got another thing coming." "Just hear him out," Jorge pleaded. "And please don't say anything else that might get us all fired." As the party wound down and the last guests departed, Nia reluctantly made her way to the main living room where Damien waited. He had removed his tie and jacket and stood looking out at the Miami skyline. "You wanted to see me, Mr. Vega," Nia said, standing tall despite her exhaustion. Damien turned. He looked different now, less arrogant, more thoughtful. "Where did you learn to dance like that?" he asked. "That's what you want to know?" Nia crossed her arms. "Not going to remind me of your marriage proposal joke?" Damien had the decency to look embarrassed. "That was stupid. I was just trying to get some clingy people off my back." "By humiliating women? Nice strategy." He ran a hand through his hair. "I deserved that. Look, I've never seen anyone move like you did tonight. It was incredible." Nia hadn't expected a compliment. "I trained for years, competed professionally for a while." "Why did you stop?" The question hit a nerve. Nia looked away. "Life happened. Some dreams have to wait when you have responsibilities." Damien stepped closer. "What responsibilities?" "That's personal." Nia checked her watch. "If that's all, I need to catch the last bus." "Let me drive you home," Damien offered immediately. "No, thank you. It's late, and—" "I said no," Nia repeated firmly. "I don't need your help or your pity." Damien nodded, respecting her decision. "At least let me walk you to the elevator." They rode down in awkward silence. As the doors opened at the lobby, Damien spoke again. "I'm sorry about tonight. What I did was thoughtless." Nia looked at him, surprised by the genuine apology. "Apology accepted. Good night, Mr. Vega." "Damien," he corrected. "And Nia, I meant what I said about your dancing. It was beautiful." For the first time that night, Nia offered a small smile. "Thank you. Good night, Damien." She walked out of the building and toward the bus stop, unaware that Damien watched from the lobby until she was safely on the bus. When Nia finally arrived at her small apartment, she collapsed on her bed, emotionally and physically drained. Her phone buzzed with a text from Amina. "How was the rest of your night?" Nia stared at the ceiling, wondering how to explain what had happened. Finally she typed, "Let's just say I made quite an impression on the host. I'll tell you everything tomorrow. Love you." She fell asleep thinking about the way Damien had looked at her, not with lust or mockery, but with genuine admiration. It was a look she hadn't seen in a long time. Across town, in his luxurious penthouse, Damien couldn't sleep. He kept replaying the image of Nia dancing, strong, graceful, and completely authentic, in a room full of fake people. For the first time in years, he was truly intrigued by a woman. He picked up his phone and called Marcus. "I need you to find out everything you can about Nia Carter," he said when his friend answered. "The maid from tonight, are you serious?" "Dead serious," Damien replied, and this time he meant it. The next morning, Nia woke up with sore muscles and a nagging feeling of regret. Had she really confronted one of Miami's wealthiest men in front of all his guests? She groaned and checked her phone. 3 missed calls from Jorge, her catering manager. "Great," she muttered, preparing for the worst as she called him back. "Nia, finally!" Jorge sounded strangely excited. "You won't believe this. Mr. Vega wants to hire you privately for his next event." Nia sat up straight. "What? As a dancer?" No. As the event coordinator. He said he was impressed by your confidence." Nia frowned. This had to be some kind of joke. "Jorge, I embarrassed him in front of his friends." "Well, whatever you did, he's offering 3 times your normal rate. Think about it, okay? He wants an answer by tomorrow." After hanging up, Nia paced her small apartment. The money would be a godsend. Her sister Amina's dance academy tuition was due, and her own conservatory classes weren't getting any cheaper. But working directly for Damien Vega? The man had used women as entertainment last night. Her phone rang again. This time it was Amina. "Tell me everything," her sister demanded. "Your text was so mysterious." Nia laughed and recounted the events of the previous night. Amina gasped in all the right places. "You actually showed up all those rich people? On a pole? Nia, you're my hero. Or a complete idiot who almost lost her job," Nia replied. "So what happens now?" Nia hesitated. "He's offering me work as an event coordinator. Good money." "Take it," Amina said immediately. "We need the cash, and it sounds like you put him in his place already. What's the worst that could happen? I could punch him and get arrested for assaulting a millionaire?" They both laughed, but Nia knew her sister was right about the money. She needed it badly. Across town, Damien sat in his office overlooking Biscayne Bay. His assistant had just brought him a file on Nia Carter. "Is this everything?" he asked, flipping through the few pages. "Yes, sir. She's quite private. No social media presence except a private Instagram account. Originally from Atlanta. Lives alone in an apartment in Little Havana. Works 2 jobs, the catering company and as a receptionist at a small dance studio." Damien nodded, studying a photo taken from her Georgia driver's license. Even in that awful DMV lighting, she was stunning. "What about family?" "A younger sister named Amina who still lives in Atlanta with their grandmother. Parents deceased. The sister is apparently a talented dancer, too." Damien closed the file. "Did she respond to our offer yet?" "Not yet, sir. Let me know as soon as she does." After his assistant left, Damien leaned back in his chair. He couldn't stop thinking about Nia. Not just her dancing, but her words. The woman who just reminded you how real femininity moves. No one talked to him like that. Everyone was either trying to impress him or get something from him. His phone rang, interrupting his thoughts. It was his Aunt Rosa. "Are you coming to Sunday dinner?" she asked without preamble. Damien smiled. At 68, Rosa Vega had raised him after his parents died, and she was the only person who never put up with his nonsense. "I wouldn't miss it, Tia." "Good. Bring someone nice this time, not one of those skinny girls who don't eat my food." Damien laughed. "I'm not seeing anyone right now." "You're 32, Damien. When are you going to find a good woman?" "Maybe I already have," he said without thinking. There was a pause on the line. "Really? Who is she?" Damien regretted his words immediately. "No one, Tia, just someone I met. It's nothing. Bring her on Sunday. I want to meet this woman who has you sounding like a schoolboy." Before he could protest, she hung up. Damien shook his head, smiling. Then an idea struck him. Would Nia accept an invitation to dinner instead of the job offer? It was worth a try. That afternoon, Nia was at the reception desk of Rhythm's dance studio, when a delivery man arrived with an enormous bouquet of flowers. "Nia Carter?" he asked, struggling under the weight of the arrangement. "That's me," she replied, confused. "But there must be a mistake." "No mistake. Sign here, please." As he left, Nia searched for a card among the exotic blooms. She found it tucked inside a small envelope. "Thank you for the reminder of what real grace looks like. Would you join me for dinner on Sunday? Damien Vega." Nia stared at the card in disbelief. A job offer was one thing, but dinner? Was he asking her on a date? Her co-worker, Tasha, peered over her shoulder. "Who sent those? They must have cost a fortune." Nia quickly tucked the card away. "No one important. Those flowers say otherwise," Tasha teased. "Come on, spill." "It's just some rich guy I met at a catering job. He's probably used to women falling at his feet when he sends flowers." "Are you going to say yes?" Nia hesitated. "I don't know, he's not really my type." "What's your type, poor?" Tasha laughed. "Girl, live a little. At least get a free meal out of it." Later that evening, Nia called her sister again for advice. "He sent flowers," Amina squealed. "And he's asking you on a date? Nia, this is like a movie." "It's not a date," Nia insisted. "He probably feels guilty about the whole pole dancing challenge thing. Or maybe he genuinely likes you. You said he was different when you talked afterward, right?" Nia remembered the sincerity in Damien's eyes when he apologized. "Maybe, but I need the job more than I need a date with a playboy millionaire." "Why not both?" Amina suggested. "Tell him you'll go to dinner, but you want the job too," Nia laughed. "That's not how it works in the real world, Amina." "How do you know? Have you ever negotiated with a millionaire before?" The next day, Nia found herself standing in the lobby of Vega Enterprises, clutching her phone with Damien's number. After much deliberation, she had decided to meet him in person rather than call. She wanted to see his face when she gave her answer. The receptionist looked her up and down. "Do you have an appointment with Mr. Vega?" "No, but Mr. Vega only sees people with appointments." Nia stood her ground. "Tell him Nia Carter is here. He'll want to see me." The receptionist raised an eyebrow but picked up her phone. After a brief conversation, she looked up in surprise. "Mr. Vega will see you now. Take the elevator to the top floor." When the elevator doors opened, Damien was waiting in the hallway. He wore a casual button-down shirt and dark jeans, a stark contrast to his formal suit from the party. "Nia," he said, clearly pleased. "This is a surprise." "I got your flowers," she replied. "And your dinner invitation." And I have questions before I answer." Damien smiled. "Of course you do. Come to my office." His office was exactly what she expected. Sleek, modern, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a breathtaking view of Miami. Nia tried not to look impressed. "Have a seat," Damien offered, gesturing to a comfortable chair across from his desk. Nia sat, back straight, chin up. "I also got your job offer." "Ah," Damien leaned against his desk. "And which one are you here to discuss?" "Both, actually. Are they connected? Do I have to go to dinner with you to get the job?" Damien looked genuinely offended. "Absolutely not. They're completely separate. The job offer stands regardless of whether you have dinner with me." Nia studied his face for any sign of deception. "Why do you want to hire me? I have no experience coordinating events." "You're honest, direct. You don't try to impress me or tell me what I want to hear." "That's rare in my world, Nia. And after seeing how you handled yourself at the party, I think you'd be excellent at managing events and people." His answer surprised her. "And the dinner invitation?" Damien hesitated. "That's more personal. I'd like to get to know you better. No strings attached, no expectations, just dinner at my aunt's house." "Your aunt's house?" Now Nia was really confused. Damien laughed. "Yes, my Aunt Rosa. She raised me after my parents died. She makes the best Cuban food in Miami, and she insists on Sunday family dinners. She also insisted I bring you. You told your aunt about me. She could tell something was different when we spoke on the phone. She's very intuitive." Damien shrugged. "Look, if it makes you uncomfortable, forget the dinner. But the job offer stands. Think about it." Nia took a deep breath. "I'll take the job." Damien broke into a genuine smile. "Excellent. You can start next week." "And about dinner?" Nia hesitated. "I'll come, but on one condition." "Name it." "This isn't a date. It's just dinner." Damien nodded. "Agreed. Just dinner with my very nosy but lovable aunt. And one more thing," Nia added. "I need tomorrow night off from my catering shift. My sister is visiting from Atlanta, and I promised to take her to South Beach. Consider it done. In fact," Damien paused, "would you both like to use my private beach access? The public beaches get very crowded on weekends." Nia was about to refuse automatically, but she thought of how excited Amina would be. "That's very kind of you. Thank you." As she stood to leave, Damien asked, "Your sister, she's a dancer too?" Nia nodded. "Ballet? She's much better than I ever was. She's got a real shot at a professional career if she can get into the right program. That's why you work so hard. For her." Nia met his eyes. "Family is everything to me, Mr. Vega." "Damien," he corrected gently. "Damien," she acknowledged. "I'll see you on Sunday." As she walked out, Damien called after her, "I'll send a car for you at 6. Nia turned back. "I can drive myself. My aunt lives in Coral Gables. It's quite a distance from Little Havana." "Fine," Nia conceded, "but it's still not a date." Damien's smile widened. "Whatever you say, Ms. Carter." Saturday evening, Nia waited anxiously at the airport for Amina's flight. When her sister finally emerged from the gate, Nia was struck by how much she'd grown. At 16, Amina was already taller than Nia, with their mother's long limbs and graceful bearing. "Nia!" Amina squealed, running to embrace her. "I've missed you so much." "I've missed you too, baby girl." Nia hugged her tightly. "You've grown at least 2 inches since Christmas." "Good for ballet, bad for finding pants that fit," Amina joked. "Now tell me more about this millionaire who's crushing on you." Nia rolled her eyes. "He's not crushing on me. He offered me a job and I took it. End of story. And the dinner at his aunt's house tomorrow? That's just complicated." Amina grinned. "Sounds like the beginning of a love story to me." "Well, it's not," Nia insisted. "But he did offer us access to his private beach today. Interested?" Amina's eyes widened. "Are you kidding?" "Yes!" The private beach was even more exclusive than Nia had imagined. A security guard checked their names against a list and then directed them to a secluded stretch of pristine sand, with only a few other people present. "This is insane," Amina whispered, as they set up their beach towels. "Do all rich people have their own beaches?" Nia laughed. "I think they just have access to the private sections and keep your voice down." They spent a blissful afternoon swimming and sunbathing. Amina peppered Nia with questions about Damien, and despite her attempts to downplay her interest, Nia found herself smiling when she talked about him. "You like him," Amina said matter-of-factly. "I can tell." "I barely know him," Nia protested. "But you want to know him better." Before Nia could respond, a familiar voice called her name. She turned to see Damien walking toward them, dressed casually in swimming trunks and a t-shirt. "Damien," she said, surprised. "Hey, what are you doing here?" "I own this section of the beach," he said with a smile. "I thought I'd check in to make sure you found it okay." His eyes moved to Amina. "You must be the talented sister I've heard about." Amina beamed. "That's me, and you must be the millionaire who's not dating my sister." Nia wanted to sink into the sand. "Amina," Damien laughed. "Guilty as charged, on both counts." He turned to Nia. "I was about to have some lunch at the beach club. Would you and Amina like to join me? Their seafood is excellent." Before Nia could decline, Amina jumped in. "We'd love to. We're starving, right, Nia?" Nia shot her sister a look, but nodded. "Lunch would be nice." "Thank you." The beach club was elegant, but relaxed. As they ate, Damien asked Amina about her dancing. "I heard you're quite talented." Amina shrugged modestly. "I work hard. I'm trying to get into the Atlanta Ballet's summer intensive program, but the competition is fierce." "What about longer term?" Damien asked. "My dream is Juilliard," Amina admitted. "But that's probably just a fantasy." "Why? If you're good enough." "It's not about being good enough," Nia interrupted. "It's about money. Juilliard costs more than most people make in a year." Damien looked at her thoughtfully. "There are scholarships, which are even more competitive than getting in," Nia said. "But we're working on it. Amina has time." The conversation shifted to lighter topics. Damien was surprisingly good with Amina, treating her like an adult and showing genuine interest in her dreams. By the end of lunch, even Nia had to admit she was enjoying his company. As they were leaving, Damien pulled Nia aside. "I have to go to New York next week for business. Since you're starting as my event coordinator, would you like to come along? I'm meeting with potential clients, and it would be good for you to be there." Nia hesitated. "New York? For how long?" "Just 3 days. All expenses paid, of course. Separate hotel rooms," he added quickly. "Strictly professional. I'd have to check with my other job. I've already cleared it with Jorge. He says it's fine." Nia raised an eyebrow. "You were that sure I'd say yes?" Damien smiled. "I was hopeful. Plus, I thought you might like to visit Juilliard while we're there. See it for yourself. Maybe talk to the admissions office about your sister." Nia stared at him, speechless. He had been paying attention. really paying attention. Think about it, Damien said. Let me know tomorrow at dinner. After he left, Amina grabbed Nia's arm. Did he just invite you to New York? Please tell me you're going. I don't know, Nia said honestly. It's complicated. What's complicated? He's gorgeous, he's nice, and he seems to really like you. Plus, he's offering to help with Juilliard. That's what worries me, Nia admitted. No one offers something for nothing. There's always a catch. Maybe the catch is that he actually likes you and wants to spend time with you, Amina suggested. Did you ever think of that? The next evening, as Nia got ready for dinner at Rosa's house, her conversation with Amina kept playing in her mind. Was she being too defensive? Too quick to assume the worst about Damien? At exactly 6 o'clock, a sleek black car pulled up outside her apartment building. The driver opened the door for her, and to her surprise, Damien was inside. I hope you don't mind, he said as she slid into the seat beside him. I thought we could talk before facing my aunt's interrogation. Nia smoothed her simple blue dress. What kind of interrogation should I be prepared for? Damien laughed. The usual. Are you seeing anyone? What are your intentions toward my nephew? When are you getting married and giving me great nieces and nephews? Oh, is that all? Nia said sarcastically. Don't worry. I've warned her that we're just friends and colleagues. Nia nodded, relieved. Good. They rode in comfortable silence for a while before Damien spoke again. Have you thought about New York? Yes, Nia said slowly. I'll go. Damien's face lit up. Really? That's great. But just as your event coordinator, she clarified, and I'd like to visit Juilliard, if that's still an option. Of course. I'll arrange everything. As they pulled up to a beautiful Spanish-style house in Coral Gables, Nia felt a flutter of nervousness. What if your aunt doesn't like me? Damien looked at her, his expression serious. Impossible. She's going to love you. Before Nia could respond, the front door opened, and a small, energetic woman with silver-streaked black hair came rushing out. You're here, finally. She embraced Damien tightly, then turned to Nia with warm, appraising eyes. And you must be the maid who put my nephew in his place. I've been waiting to meet you. Nia looked at Damien in alarm. He shrugged apologetically. I tell my aunt everything. Rosa took Nia's hand. Come inside, dear. I want to hear all about how you made this arrogant boy speechless. It's so rare that I need all the details. As Rosa led her inside, Nia glanced back at Damien, who was watching them with a mixture of amusement and something that looked suspiciously like affection. For the first time since that night on the rooftop, Nia wondered if maybe, just maybe, there was something real developing between them. And for the first time, the thought didn't scare her as much as it probably should. Rosa Vega's home was warm and inviting, filled with family photos and the mouth-watering aroma of traditional Cuban cooking. As they entered the dining room, Nia noticed that the table was set for 4. Are we expecting someone else? She asked. Rosa smiled. My neighbor Carlos is joining us. He's a very nice widower who keeps me company sometimes. Damien rolled his eyes. Tia, are you still trying to make Carlos jealous by inviting other people to dinner? Don't be ridiculous, Rosa said, waving her hand dismissively. Carlos and I are just friends, like you and this beautiful young woman. Nia couldn't help but smile at Rosa's transparency. The older woman clearly had her own romantic situation that mirrored what was happening between Nia and Damien. Can I help with anything in the kitchen? Nia offered. Yes, come, help me with the ropa vieja. Damien, go open the wine. In the kitchen, Rosa worked with practiced efficiency while Nia assisted. After a few minutes of comfortable silence, Rosa spoke. My nephew is different with you, more like the boy I raised, and less like the man he's become. Nia wasn't sure how to respond. We barely know each other. Sometimes that doesn't matter, Rosa said wisely. The heart recognizes what it needs, even before the head understands. I don't think that's what's happening here, Nia insisted. Damien offered me a job, and I accepted. That's all. Rosa gave her a knowing smile. If you say so, dear, but I've known that boy since he was 8 years old. I've seen the women he brings to these dinners, when he bothers to bring anyone at all. You're the first one who has made him nervous. Nervous, Damien? Nia laughed. I doubt that very much. He changed his shirt 3 times before picking you up. He called twice to make sure I was making my best food. And he told me your entire story. How you stood up to him, how you danced, how you worked 2 jobs to support your sister. Nia was surprised. He told you all that? And more. He admires you, Nia. That's rare for Damien. He's surrounded by people who want things from him. You wanted nothing. Before Nia could respond, The doorbell rang, announcing Carlos's arrival. Dinner was a lively affair. Carlos, a distinguished man in his 70s, clearly adored Rosa, though neither would admit it. Damien was relaxed and charming, telling stories that made everyone laugh. Nia found herself enjoying the evening far more than she had expected. After dessert, Carlos invited Rosa to see a new plant in his garden, leaving Nia and Damien alone. "Your aunt is wonderful," Nia said sincerely. "She likes you," Damien replied. "That's rare. She usually interrogates my guests until they're ready to confess to crimes they didn't commit." Nia laughed. "I'm sure you've brought women here who deserved it." "Probably," he admitted. "I haven't always had the best judgment when it comes to relationships." "And now?" Their eyes met, and something shifted in the air between them. Before Damien could answer, Rosa returned, flushed and smiling. "Carlos has invited us all for coffee next Sunday," she announced. "Nia, you must come again." "I'd like that," Nia said, surprising herself with how much she meant it. Later, as Damien drove Nia home, they discussed the upcoming New York trip. "We leave Tuesday morning," he said. "I've arranged for us to visit Juilliard on Wednesday afternoon. I hope that works for you." "It's perfect, thank you." Nia hesitated. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Why are you doing all this? The job, the trip, Juilliard, you barely know me." Damien was quiet for a moment. "Do you remember what you said to me that night, about reminding me how real femininity moves?" Nia nodded. "No one has ever spoken to me like that, with such honesty and dignity. It made me realize how artificial my life has become. The people around me, the parties, the business deals, none of it feels real." He parked outside her apartment building, but made no move to get out of the car. "You reminded me of something I'd forgotten, Nia, that there are people in this world who live authentically, who work hard for what matters to them. People like you." Nia didn't know what to say. His words seemed sincere, but years of struggling had taught her to be cautious. "I should go," she said finally. "Amina's waiting up for me." "Of course." Damien got out and opened her door. "I'll have a car pick you up Tuesday at 8 for the airport." As they stood facing each other on the sidewalk, Nia felt a sudden urge to reach out and touch him, to see if the connection she felt was real or imagined. Instead, she simply said, "Thank you for tonight. It was lovely." "Thank you for coming," Damien replied softly. "Good night, Nia." "Good night, Damien." Inside her apartment, Amina was waiting with eager eyes. "Well, how was it? Is his aunt nice? Did he kiss you good night?" Nia laughed. "Slow down. His aunt is wonderful. Dinner was lovely. And no, he didn't kiss me. We're just colleagues, remember? Colleagues who go to fancy dinners and take trips to New York together," Amina teased. "Speaking of which, we're visiting Juilliard while we're there. Damien arranged it." Amina's eyes widened. "Are you serious? Nia, that's amazing." "Don't get too excited. It's just a visit, not an audition." "Still, it's Juilliard." Amina hugged her sister tightly. "And don't think I didn't notice you changing the subject from Damien." Nia rolled her eyes, but as she got ready for bed, she couldn't stop thinking about the evening, about Rosa's warmth, about the feeling of belonging she'd experienced, and about the way Damien had looked at her when he thought she wasn't noticing. Tuesday morning arrived with a mix of excitement and nervousness. Nia had never flown first class before, and she felt out of place among the business travelers with their expensive luggage and confident demeanors. Damien met her at the gate, dressed in a casual but clearly expensive travel outfit. "Ready for your first trip as my event coordinator?" "As ready as I'll ever be," Nia replied, "though I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to be doing. For now, just observe. The meetings we're having are with potential clients for a new luxury development in Manhattan. Your job will be to plan events that showcase the properties once they're built." As they boarded the plane and settled into their spacious first-class seats, Nia tried to ignore the curious glances from other passengers. She knew what they were thinking. What was a woman like her doing with a man like Damien Vega? "Ignore them," Damien said quietly, noticing her discomfort. "Half of them are hoping I'll invest in their startups, and the other half are wondering if you're my new girlfriend." Nia blushed. "And what would you tell them if they asked?" Damien looked at her with an intensity that made her heart race. "I'd tell them it's none of their business." The flight passed quickly. Damien spent most of it working on his laptop, while Nia read through materials he had prepared about the New York development. By the time they landed at JFK, she felt more confident about her role. A car was waiting to take them to their hotel, a stunning 5-star property in the heart of Manhattan. As they checked in, the manager greeted Damien warmly. "Mr. Vega, always a pleasure. We've upgraded you both to suites on the top floor." In the elevator, Nia whispered, Do you always get treated like this? Damien shrugged. My company owns a share of the hotel. Their suites were across the hall from each other. Before they parted to freshen up, Damien said, There's a business dinner tonight with some investors. Would you like to join us? Is it part of my job? Nia asked. Not officially, but it would be good experience. Then yes, I'd like to come. Great. We'll leave at 7. Alone in her luxurious suite, Nia called Amina to check in. The hotel is insane, she reported. I'm pretty sure my bathroom is bigger than our entire apartment. Take pictures of everything, Amina demanded. And what are you wearing to the fancy business dinner tonight? Nia glanced at the simple black dress she had packed. Nothing special, just a dress. Nia, you're in New York with a hot millionaire. You need to step up your game. This isn't about my game, Amina. It's about work. Uh-huh. Sure it is. Amina's tone was skeptical. Just promise me you'll have some fun too, okay? After hanging up, Nia took a long shower in the marble bathroom, trying to calm her nerves. This world of luxury and privilege was so far from everything she knew. What if she embarrassed herself? Or worse, embarrassed Damien? At 7, she knocked on his door, wearing her black dress with the single strand of pearls that had belonged to their mother. Damien opened the door, looking devastatingly handsome in a tailored suit. For a moment, he just stared at her. Then he said quietly, You look beautiful. Thank you. Nia smoothed her dress self-consciously. Is this appropriate for the dinner? It's perfect. He offered his arm. Shall we? The restaurant was exclusive and elegant. The investors, 3 older men with expensive watches and sharp eyes, assessed Nia carefully when Damien introduced her as his new event coordinator. Quite a step up from catering staff, one of them commented with a smirk. Nia tensed, but Damien's response was swift and firm. Ms. Carter has exceptional organizational skills and a unique perspective that will be valuable for our development. I consider myself fortunate that she accepted the position. The men exchanged looks, but said nothing more on the subject. Throughout dinner, Nia remained mostly quiet, observing the dynamics and listening as they discussed the New York project. Occasionally, Damien would ask for her opinion, genuinely interested in her perspective. As the evening progressed, she began to see another side of him, the shrewd businessman who could charm and negotiate with equal skill. It was fascinating to watch. Later, as they walked back to the hotel through the vibrant New York streets, Damien asked, What did you think? I think those men underestimated you, Nia replied honestly. They see the playboy reputation, but you're much smarter than they realize. Damien looked surprised, then pleased. Most people don't notice that. I'm not most people. No, he agreed softly. You're definitely not. They stopped walking, standing face to face on the crowded sidewalk. For a breathless moment, Nia thought he might kiss her. Instead, he simply said, Thank you for coming tonight. Your presence made the evening much more bearable. The next day was filled with meetings at Damien's New York office. Nia met the marketing team and discussed ideas for launch events for the new development. To her surprise, they treated her with respect, taking her suggestions seriously. By the time they left for their appointment at Juilliard, Nia was feeling more confident in her new role. The famous performing arts school was everything she had imagined, imposing, prestigious, and buzzing with creative energy. Damien had arranged for them to meet with the head of the dance department, a stern-looking woman named Ms. Winters. Nia had expected a quick tour, but instead they were ushered into a private office. Mr. Vega tells me your sister is a talented ballet dancer, Ms. Winters said, getting straight to the point. Yes, she is, Nia replied. Amina has been dancing since she was 4. And she's interested in our summer intensive program? Eventually, yes. And the undergraduate program, of course. It's her dream. Ms. Winters nodded. We receive thousands of applications each year. What makes your sister special? The question caught Nia off guard. Amina has a quality when she dances, a light that shines through every movement. It's not just technique, though her technique is excellent. It's something more. Like what you demonstrated on that pole, Damien interjected quietly. Nia glanced at him, surprised he had made the connection. Yes, exactly. It's dancing from the inside out. Amina has that gift. Ms. Winters looked intrigued. We have auditions for the summer intensive in Atlanta next month. I'll make sure her application gets special attention. Thank you, Nia said, trying to contain her excitement. That's very kind. It's not kindness, Ms. Carter. It's interest. Talent is our business. After the meeting, as they toured the campus, Nia couldn't stop smiling. I can't believe that just happened. Amina is going to lose her mind. Damien watched her happiness with a soft expression. You really would do anything for her, wouldn't you? Of course, she's my sister, and after our parents died, I promised I'd make sure she got every opportunity they would have wanted for her. You're remarkable, Nia Carter, Damien said simply. That evening they had no business obligations, so Damien suggested they see a Broadway show, unless you're tired from the meetings. Are you kidding? I've never been to Broadway. I'd love to go. He surprised her with tickets to a new dance-focused musical that had been receiving rave reviews. Their seats were in the center of the front row, and Nia was mesmerized from the moment the curtain rose. At intermission, she turned to Damien with shining eyes. "This is incredible. Thank you for bringing me. The pleasure is mine," he replied, watching her excitement with evident enjoyment. "You know, we should bring Amina to see this when she visits New York." "When?" Nia raised an eyebrow. "If," Damien corrected himself, but his smile suggested he believed it was only a matter of time. After the show, they walked back to the hotel, discussing their favorite parts of the performance. The night was cool but pleasant, and Nia felt more relaxed with Damien than she had since they met. "Would you like to get a drink before turning in?" he asked as they entered the hotel lobby. "That sounds nice," Nia agreed. The hotel bar was elegant and intimate. They found a quiet corner booth where they could talk without being overheard. Damien ordered an expensive whiskey, while Nia chose a simple glass of wine. "Can I ask you something personal?" Nia said after they had settled in. "Of course. Why aren't you married? You're successful, not terrible to look at," she teased, "and your aunt clearly wants great nieces and nephews." Damien smiled at her description, but then grew serious. "I almost was. Once." Nia hadn't expected that. "What happened?" "Her name was Isabella. We were together for 3 years. I was building my company, working crazy hours. She said she understood, that she supported my ambitions." He took a sip of his whiskey. "Then I found out she had been sleeping with my business partner." "I'm sorry," Nia said softly. "It was a long time ago, but it taught me something important about the kind of people I was surrounding myself with. People who were attracted to what I could give them, not who I was." "Is that why you made that ridiculous pole dancing challenge at your party?" Damien winced. "Partly. It was a stupid, thoughtless joke. I was tired of women like Sophia, who only saw me as a potential husband with a fat bank account." "And then I showed up and ruined your cynical worldview?" Nia smiled. "Something like that." He looked at her intently. "You didn't dance for me or anyone else in that room. You danced for yourself. Do you know how rare that is? To see someone do something purely for the sake of the thing itself." Nia felt her cheeks warm under his gaze. "It wasn't that profound. I was just angry." "Angry looks good on you," Damien said with a smile. Then, more seriously, "Can I ask you something now? Fair is fair. Why did you stop competing? In pole dancing competitions, I mean. You're clearly talented." Nia's expression darkened. "That's a longer story. We have time." She took a deep breath. "I was part of a performance group in Atlanta. We were getting some recognition, even won a few national competitions. Then we got an offer to perform in a music video for a famous rapper. Good money, legitimate exposure. But when we got to the set, it wasn't what we'd been told. They wanted us in next to nothing, doing moves that had nothing to do with the athletic art form we practiced. When I refused, the director got angry. He said some unpleasant things." Damien's expression hardened. "What kind of things?" "The kind that make you feel like no matter how hard you work, some men will only ever see you as a body for their entertainment." Nia's voice was steady, but her eyes revealed old pain. "My group leader sided with the director, said I was being difficult, unprofessional, that I should be grateful for the opportunity." "What did you do?" "I walked out, left the group, stopped competing." Nia shrugged. "And then our parents died 6 months later, and suddenly I had Amina to think about. My grandmother could give her a home, but not much else. So I moved here, got 2 jobs, and focused on making sure Amina could follow her dreams instead." Damien reached across the table and took her hand. The gesture was so unexpected that Nia didn't pull away. "I'm sorry that happened to you," he said, "but I'm not sorry you ended up in Miami, or at my party." Their eyes locked, and Nia felt that pull again, stronger this time. Slowly, Damien leaned forward. This time she knew he was going to kiss her. This time, she wanted him to. But just as their lips were about to meet, Damien's phone rang loudly. He pulled back with a frustrated sigh and checked the screen. "I have to take this. It's my New York manager." He stood up. "I'm sorry. I'll be right back." Nia nodded, her heart still pounding. As Damien walked away to take the call, she tried to collect her thoughts. What was she doing? Getting involved with her boss was a terrible idea, especially when that boss was a millionaire playboy with a completely different life from hers. When Damien returned a few minutes later, his expression had changed. "I'm sorry, but there's an issue with one of the properties. I need to go meet my manager right now." "Tonight? It's almost midnight." "It can't wait until morning." He looked genuinely regretful. "I'll make sure you get back to your room safely." "I can manage," Nia said, trying not to show her disappointment. "Go handle your business. I'll see you tomorrow." Damien hesitated, then leaned down and kissed her cheek. "Rain check on that conversation we were about to have?" His touch sent a shiver through her. "We'll see." Back in her suite, Nia replayed the evening in her mind. Had she really almost kissed Damien Vega? And more importantly, would she have regretted it if she had? Her phone buzzed with a text from him. "Meeting running late. We'll meet you in the hotel lobby at 9 for breakfast before our last meeting. Sleep well." Nia typed back a simple "okay" and tried to ignore the flutter of anticipation she felt about seeing him again in the morning. She was in the lobby at 8:55, wearing one of the new business outfits she had packed for the trip. Damien was already there, looking slightly tired, but still devastatingly handsome. "Good morning," he said, his eyes brightening when he saw her. "I hope you slept well." "Better than you, it seems," Nia replied. "Rough meeting?" "You could say that, but nothing that can't be fixed." He gestured toward the hotel restaurant. "Shall we?" Over breakfast, they kept the conversation professional, discussing the final meeting of the day with the architects. Neither mentioned their almost kiss from the night before, but there was a new awareness between them, an electricity that made even casual contact seem significant. The final meeting went smoothly, and by 3 o'clock they were in a car heading back to the airport. Nia felt a strange mix of emotions, pride in how well she had handled her first business trip, excitement about the connection with Juilliard for Amina, and confusion about her evolving feelings for Damien. As they settled into their first-class seats for the flight home, Damien turned to her. "Thank you for coming on this trip. You were a real asset in those meetings." "Thank you for the opportunity," Nia replied sincerely, "and for arranging the Juilliard visit. Amina is going to be over the moon." Damien smiled. "I'm glad I could help. Your sister is lucky to have you fighting for her." "It's not just me anymore, is it?" Nia said softly. "Now she has you in her corner too." Something shifted in Damien's expression, a vulnerability that made him look younger, more open. "I'd like to think so, yes, if that's okay with you." Before Nia could respond, a flight attendant approached with champagne. "Compliments of the captain, Mr. Vega." "Thank you," Damien said, then turned back to Nia. "About last night." Nia tensed. "We don't have to talk about it." "I think we do." His voice was gentle but firm. "I like you, Nia, more than I expected to. More than is probably wise given that you work for me." "That's what I'm worried about," Nia admitted. "I need this job, Damien. I can't risk it for whatever this is between us." "I understand that, and I would never want you to feel that your job depends on anything personal between us." He paused. "But I also don't want to pretend I don't feel what I feel." Nia looked down at her hands. "I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything right now. Just think about it." Damien touched her hand briefly. No pressure, no expectations, just possibility. The rest of the flight passed in comfortable conversation about less charged topics. By the time they landed in Miami, Nia felt both relieved and disappointed that they hadn't returned to the subject of their relationship. As they parted at the airport, Damien said, "Take tomorrow off. Rest. I'll see you at the office on Friday to start planning the Miami launch event. Thank you for everything." Nia hesitated, then impulsively stood on tiptoe and kissed his cheek. "Good night, Damien." His smile was worth the momentary boldness. "Good night, Nia." At home, Amina was waiting with eager questions about Juilliard. Nia shared the exciting news about the auditions, carefully avoiding too many details about her time with Damien. But Amina was too perceptive. "Something happened between you two, didn't it? You're all glowy." "Nothing happened," Nia insisted. "We just understood each other better." "Mm-hmm." Amina didn't look convinced. "Well, whatever didn't happen seems to agree with you." The next day, as Nia was catching up on laundry and household chores, her phone rang. It was Rosa. "Nia, dear, how was New York?" "Damien won't tell me anything." Nia laughed. "It was wonderful. Thank you for asking." "Good, good. Listen, Carlos and I are having a small dinner party on Saturday night. Nothing fancy, just a few friends. Will you come?" Damien already said yes. "I'd love to," Nia replied, realizing she genuinely meant it. "Excellent. Oh, and Nia, wear something nice. I'm inviting some of my old dance friends. Maybe you could show them a few of your moves." After hanging up, Nia shook her head, amused by Rosa's transparent matchmaking. But the idea of seeing Damien again outside of work made her heart beat faster. Friday morning, she arrived at Vega Enterprises, feeling nervous but excited. Damien's assistant showed her to a spacious office that would be hers. "Mr. Vega is in meetings all morning," the assistant explained. "He asked me to get you settled and said he'll meet with you after lunch." The morning passed quickly as Nia familiarized herself with her new workspace and the company systems. By lunchtime, she was feeling more confident about her ability to handle the job. As she was about to leave for lunch, her office door opened, and a striking woman in an expensive suit walked in without knocking. "So, you're the new event coordinator," the woman said, her tone coldly assessing. "Yes, I'm Nia Carter." Nia stood and extended her hand. "And you are?" The woman ignored the outstretched hand. "Isabella Morales. I'm sure Damien has mentioned me." Nia's heart sank. Isabella, Damien's ex-fiancée. "Actually, he has." Isabella smiled thinly. "I'm not surprised. Damien has always had trouble letting go of the past." She walked around the office, trailing her fingers along the desk. "Nice office. Better than most entry-level employees get." "I wouldn't know," Nia replied evenly, refusing to be intimidated. "No, I suppose you wouldn't." Isabella stopped and faced her directly. "Let me give you some advice, Nia. Damien has a pattern. He finds women who need saving, who need money or connections, or in your case, both. He plays the white knight, and for a while it makes him feel good about himself." "I don't need saving," Nia said firmly. "Of course you do. Why else would you be here? A maid with no event planning experience, suddenly promoted to coordinator, taking business trips to New York after knowing him for what, a week?" Nia felt her cheeks burn. "I think you should leave." Isabella laughed. "Touched a nerve, did I? Just remember what I said. Damien loses interest once he's fixed all your problems. And you, honey, have a lot of problems to fix." With that, she turned and walked out, leaving Nia shaken and confused. How did Isabella know about her background, about New York? And more importantly, was there any truth to what she had said about Damien's pattern? When Damien arrived for their meeting an hour later, Nia was still disturbed by the encounter. "Is everything okay?" he asked immediately, noticing her expression. "You look upset." "I had a visitor earlier," Nia said. "Isabella Morales." Damien's face darkened. "What did she want?" "To warn me about you, apparently." Nia met his eyes directly. "She seems to think you have a habit of rescuing women and then losing interest." Damien ran a hand through his hair in frustration. "Isabella has no right to come here and talk to you like that." "Is it true?" Nia pressed. "Am I just your latest charity case?" "Of course not." Damien looked genuinely hurt by the suggestion. "Is that what you think?" "I don't know what to think, Damien. Everything has happened so fast. The job New York Juilliard for Amina. It's like a fairy tale. And fairy tales aren't real." Damien moved closer, his expression serious. "You're right that things have moved quickly, but nothing I've done has been out of pity or some savior complex. I offered you a job because I saw your potential. I took you to New York because I wanted you there." "And Juilliard?" He shook his head. "That was just a connection I could make that might help your sister. Nothing more." "And what about us?" Nia asked quietly. "Is that moving too fast as well?" Damien's eyes softened. "Maybe, but it doesn't feel wrong to me. Does it feel wrong to you?" Before Nia could answer, Damien's phone buzzed. He ignored it. "Isabella is manipulative, Nia. She cheated on me, then tried to take half my company in the breakup. Now she works for my biggest competitor, and she'll say anything to cause problems for me. So there's no truth to what she said about your pattern with women?" Damien hesitated. "I've dated women who needed help in the past, and yes, sometimes I've tried to fix their problems, but that's not what this is." He moved closer, taking her hands in his. "What I feel for you is different. You didn't ask for my help. You didn't want anything from me. You stood up to me and made me see myself differently." His phone buzzed again. This time he glanced at it and frowned. "I'm sorry, but I have to take this. It's about the New York property." "Go ahead," Nia said, pulling her hands away. "We can finish this conversation later." As Damien stepped out to take the call, Nia sat at her desk, conflicted. She wanted to believe him, but Isabella's words had planted seeds of doubt. Was she just another of Damien's projects? And even if his feelings were genuine now, would they last once the novelty wore off? By the time Damien returned, Nia had composed herself. "Everything okay with the property?" "Just a minor issue." he said, though his expression suggested otherwise. Now, where were we? Actually, I think we should focus on work, Nia said. I have some ideas for the Miami launch event that I'd like to discuss. Disappointment flashed across Damien's face, but he nodded. Of course, work comes first. For the rest of the afternoon, they kept their conversation strictly professional. But as Nia was gathering her things to leave, Damien said, Rosa told me she invited you for dinner tomorrow night. Yes, she did. I'm looking forward to it. Would you like me to pick you up? Nia hesitated. I think I'll drive myself this time. But thank you. Damien looked like he wanted to say more, but he simply nodded. I'll see you there then. As Nia left the office, she couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed between them. Isabella's visit had cast a shadow over what had been developing. And now, despite Damien's denials, she couldn't help wondering if she was just another woman he wanted to rescue. That night, as she told Amina about her first day, she carefully avoided mentioning Isabella or her warnings. So you're going to Rosa's for dinner tomorrow? Amina asked. With Damien? And other people, Nia clarified. It's not a date. It could be, Amina said. If you'd let it. Nia sighed. It's complicated, Amina. He's my boss now, and we come from completely different worlds. You like him, though, Amina persisted. I can tell. Liking someone isn't always enough, but sometimes it's a start, Amina said wisely. Don't push him away, because you're scared, Nia. Not everyone will disappoint you like Marcus did. Nia looked at her sister in surprise. Marcus had been her dance partner and boyfriend in Atlanta, the one who had sided with the music video director and betrayed her trust. This isn't about Marcus, Nia insisted. Isn't it? Ever since he chose that sleazy director over you, you've kept everyone at arm's length, even me sometimes. Nia was taken aback by her sister's perception. That's not true. It is. You're so afraid of being hurt again that you won't let anyone close enough to try. Amina hugged her sister. Not everyone is Marcus, Nia. Some people are worth the risk. As Nia lay in bed that night, she replayed both Isabella's warnings and Amina's advice in her mind. She had spent years building walls to protect herself, focusing on Amina's needs rather than her own. Was she really pushing Damien away because she was afraid? By the time Saturday evening arrived, Nia had made a decision. She would go to Rosa's dinner with an open mind and an open heart. She would give Damien and herself a chance to see if what was developing between them could be real. She chose a beautiful red dress that she had bought on impulse months ago but never worn. It was elegant but bold, like the woman she used to be before caution and responsibility had made her careful. When she arrived at Rosa's house, Damien was standing on the front porch, as if waiting for her. His face lit up when she stepped out of her car. You came, he said, coming down the steps to meet her. I said I would, Nia replied with a smile. You look beautiful, Damien said, his eyes taking in the red dress. Really beautiful. Thank you. Nia felt a flutter of nervousness. Damien, about yesterday. You don't have to explain, he interrupted. Isabella has a talent for causing trouble. I'm just glad you're here now. Before Nia could respond, the front door opened and Rosa called out, Are you two going to stand out there all night? Come inside. Everyone is waiting to meet Nia. As they walked toward the house, Damien offered his arm. After a moment's hesitation, Nia took it. It was a small gesture, but it felt like a beginning, or perhaps a new beginning, for both of them. Rosa's dinner party was in full swing when Nia and Damien entered. About a dozen guests mingled in the living room, most of them older couples who greeted Rosa with the familiarity of longtime friends. Everyone, this is Nia Carter, Rosa announced proudly, the woman who finally put my nephew in his place. Laughter rippled through the room as Damien shook his head, smiling. My aunt enjoys embarrassing me, he whispered to Nia. I'm starting to see where you get your confidence from, she whispered back. An elegant older woman approached them. So you're the pole dancer Rosa has been telling us about? I'm Lucinda Reyes. I danced with the Miami Ballet for 20 years. It's an honor to meet you, Nia said sincerely. Rosa says you're quite talented. I'd love to see for myself sometime. Before Nia could respond, Rosa clapped her hands. Dinner is served, everyone to the dining room. The long table was beautifully set with Rosa's best china and glowing candles. Nia found herself seated between Damien and a friendly older man who introduced himself as Carlos's brother. Throughout dinner, Nia felt Damien's eyes on her. Each time she looked at him, he smiled, a private, intimate smile that made her heart race. Despite her lingering doubts, she couldn't deny the connection between them. After dessert, Rosa insisted that everyone move to the garden, where string lights created a magical atmosphere. Someone turned on music and several couples began to dance. "May I have this dance?" Damien asked, offering his hand to Nia. She hesitated only briefly before taking it. "I should warn you, this kind of dancing isn't my specialty." "I find that hard to believe," he said, leading her to the small patio area where others were dancing. "I suspect you're good at everything you try." As they moved together to the slow music, Nia felt herself relaxing in his arms. It felt right being close to him like this. "I want to apologize again for Isabella," Damien said quietly. "She had no right to ambush you like that. It's okay. I understand why she did it." "You do?" Nia nodded. "She's still in love with you." Damien looked surprised. "That's not love, Nia, that's possession. Isabella never loved me. She loved what I could give her. And you think I'm different?" The question slipped out before she could stop it. Damien pulled back slightly to look into her eyes. "I know you are. You've never asked me for anything. Even when I offered help, you were reluctant to take it." "I'm not used to accepting help," Nia admitted. "I've been on my own for so long." "You don't have to be," Damien said softly. "Not anymore." The intensity in his eyes made her breath catch. This time, when he leaned closer, there was no phone call to interrupt them. His lips met hers in a gentle kiss that quickly deepened as she responded. When they finally pulled apart, both a little breathless, Nia was aware of Rosa watching them with a satisfied smile. "I think my aunt just accomplished her mission," Damien murmured. Nia laughed. Was there ever any doubt? Later, as the party wound down, Rosa pulled Nia aside. "Walk with me in the garden, dear. I want to show you my night-blooming jasmine." Once they were alone among the fragrant flowers, Rosa took Nia's hand. "My nephew is a good man, but he has been lost for some time. Until he met you." "I don't know about that," Nia said modestly. "I do. I raised him after his parents died. I know him better than anyone." Rosa patted her hand. "He looks at you the way my Carlos looked at me when we were young. Don't let fear keep you from happiness, Nia." "Did Amina call you?" Nia asked suspiciously. Rosa laughed. "No, but I recognize a kindred spirit. You and I, we are strong women who have known loss. We protect ourselves by staying in control. But love requires letting go a little." Her words struck a chord in Nia's heart. "It's hard to let go when you've been disappointed before." "Of course it is. But the heart knows what it needs, even when the head is afraid." Rosa squeezed her hand. "Just think about it." When it was time to leave, Damien walked Nia to her car. "May I see you tomorrow, just the two of us?" "What did you have in mind?" "A proper date, no business, no family dinners, just you and me." Nia smiled. "I'd like that." Damien's kiss goodnight was brief, but full of promise. "I'll pick you up at noon." All the way home, Nia thought about Rosa's words and the way Damien had looked at her when they danced. Maybe it was time to let go of her fears and trust her heart. The next morning, Nia was awakened by an excited phone call from Amina. "Nia, you won't believe what just happened. I got an email from Juilliard." Nia sat up straight. "What, already? They're inviting me to a special audition next month. Not the regular one, a private audition with the head of the dance department." Amina could barely contain her excitement. "How did this happen? Did you say something to them in New York?" "We just had a meeting," Nia said, stunned by how quickly things were moving. "Ms. Winters said she'd make sure your application got special attention, but I never expected this." "This is amazing. Do you think Damien had something to do with it?" "I don't know. Maybe." Nia felt a mixture of gratitude and unease. Had Damien pulled strings to make this happen? And if so, why? Her doorbell rang at exactly noon. Damien stood outside holding a picnic basket and wearing casual clothes, jeans and a simple button-down shirt. "Ready for our date?" he asked with a smile. "Where are we going?" "It's a surprise." The surprise turned out to be a private beach, not the one connected to his condo, but a small secluded cove accessible only by boat. Damien had arranged for a small motorboat to take them there. "How did you find this place?" Nia asked as they spread a blanket on the pristine sand. "My parents used to bring me here when I was a kid," Damien explained. "It's part of a nature preserve now. Not many people know about it." As they enjoyed the gourmet picnic he had brought, Nia couldn't help but ask about Amina's audition. "Did you have something to do with Juilliard contacting Amina so quickly?" Damien looked slightly embarrassed. "I may have made a phone call, but I didn't ask for special treatment, just for them to consider her application promptly." "Damien, I know what you're thinking, but I swear I didn't use my money or influence to get her an audition she doesn't deserve. I simply made sure the right people would see her dance." He took her hand. "They wouldn't invite her if they didn't think she had potential." Nia sighed. I know, and I'm grateful. I just don't want her to get her hopes up if what? If she's not good enough? Damien shook his head. From everything you've told me, Amina is exceptional. Have faith in her talent. You're right, Nia smiled. Thank you for everything you've done for her. I did it for both of you, Damien said simply. Seeing you happy makes me happy. The sincerity in his voice melted away more of Nia's doubts. They spent the afternoon swimming, talking, and enjoying each other's company away from the complications of work and family. As the sun began to set, Damien grew more serious. There's something I need to tell you. Nia tensed. What is it? The problems with the New York property. They're more serious than I let on. Isabella's company is trying to outbid us for the location. They've been using inside information. Details only someone from my company would know. You think she has a spy in your company? Damien nodded. And I'm starting to think the leak might be coming from someone close to me. That's why you were so upset when she came to see me, Nia realized. Partly. I was also worried about what she might say to you. He hesitated. Isabella can be very persuasive when she wants to be. She did plant some doubts, Nia admitted. And now? Do you still have those doubts? Nia looked at him, really looked at him. The man before her wasn't the arrogant playboy from the rooftop party. He was thoughtful, kind, and surprisingly vulnerable. No, she said softly. I don't. Relief washed over his face. He leaned in to kiss her, a kiss that felt like a new beginning. The next few weeks passed in a blur of work and romance. Nia threw herself into planning the Miami launch event for Damien's new development, while also spending evenings and weekends getting to know him better. They went sailing, tried new restaurants, and even took dance classes together, Damien insisting he needed to improve his skills to keep up with her. Amina came to Miami for her audition, staying with Nia but spending time with both of them. Watching Damien interact with her sister, showing genuine interest in her dancing, offering encouragement without condescension, only deepened Nia's growing feelings for him. The day of Amina's audition, all three of them were nervous wrecks. What if I mess up? Amina fretted as they drove to the studio where Ms. Winters had arranged to see her dance. You won't, Nia assured her. You've been practicing for weeks. Just dance like you always do, from the heart. Damien squeezed Amina's shoulder from the back seat. Remember what I told you about my first big real estate presentation? I was so nervous I dropped all my papers and had to scramble around picking them up while the investors watched. What happened? Amina asked. I made a joke about being more organized with their money than with my papers. They laughed, everyone relaxed, and I got the investment. He smiled. The point is, even if something goes wrong, it's how you handle it that matters. Amina nodded, taking a deep breath. Okay, I can do this. They weren't allowed to watch the audition, so Nia and Damien waited anxiously in the hallway outside the studio. When Amina finally emerged, her face gave nothing away. Well? Nia demanded. A slow smile spread across Amina's face. She said, I have extraordinary potential, and she wants me to come to the summer intensive program. With a full scholarship. Nia squealed and hugged her sister tightly. I knew it. I knew you could do it. Damien waited for his turn to congratulate Amina, then suggested they celebrate with dinner at the best restaurant in Miami. As they ate and toasted Amina's success, Nia looked at the two people she loved most in the world and felt a happiness she hadn't experienced in years. That night, after dropping Amina off at the apartment, Damien walked Nia to her door. Thank you for everything you did today, she said. Amina adores you, you know. The feeling is mutual. She's an amazing young woman. He took both of Nia's hands in his, just like her sister. The look in his eyes made her heart skip a beat. Damien, I love you, Nia Carter, he said simply. I think I've been falling in love with you since the moment you climbed that pole and showed me what real grace looks like. Tears pricked at Nia's eyes. I love you too, she whispered. But I'm scared. Of what? Of how fast this is happening. Of how different our worlds are. Of losing myself in your life. Damien nodded, understanding in his eyes. We can take it as slowly as you need. And as for our different worlds, maybe that's exactly why we work. You keep me grounded, real, and maybe I can help you dream a little bigger. You already have, Nia admitted. I've started dancing again, just for myself in private. But it feels good. I'd love to see that someday, Damien said, when you're ready. They sealed their declarations with a kiss that felt like a promise of things to come. The next week was consumed with final preparations for the Miami launch event. Nia had designed an elegant evening showcasing local artists and performers alongside the architectural plans for the new development. Everything was coming together perfectly until the day before the event, when Isabella showed up at Nia's office again. "I thought you should know," she said without preamble. "Damien is selling the New York property to my company." Nia kept her expression neutral. "If that's true, I'm sure he has his reasons." "Oh, he does?" Isabella smiled coldly. "He's losing money on the deal, a lot of money, and do you know why? Because he's distracted. By you." "I think you should leave," Nia said firmly. "The board is already questioning his judgment," Isabella continued, ignoring her. "First he hires an unqualified maid as his event coordinator, then he starts losing deals. How long do you think it will be before they force him out?" "That's not going to happen," came Damien's voice from the doorway. His face was like thunder as he walked into the office. "Isabella, we had a meeting scheduled for tomorrow. What are you doing here?" "Just having a chat with your latest project." Isabella's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Catching her up on company business." "The only business you need to discuss is with me, not my staff." Damien's voice was ice. "And for the record, the New York deal isn't dead yet. It will be after tomorrow's board vote." Isabella stood to leave. "Enjoy your little romance while it lasts, Damien. Once the board sees how your personal life is affecting business, they'll have no choice but to reconsider your position." After she left, Nia turned to Damien in alarm. "Is she right? Are you losing the New York property because of me?" "No," Damien said firmly. "I'm having problems with that deal because someone has been leaking confidential information to Isabella's company. And today, I finally figured out who. Who is it? Marcus, my VP of development. We've been friends since college. He's been secretly working with Isabella for months." Damien ran a hand through his hair in frustration. "I trusted him completely." "I'm so sorry," Nia said, understanding all too well the pain of betrayal by someone close. "The board meeting tomorrow is crucial. If I can prove Marcus's betrayal, I can salvage the New York deal and my position." He hesitated. "But it means I might not make it to the launch event tomorrow night." "Don't worry about that," Nia assured him. "I can handle the event. You focus on saving your company." Damien pulled her into his arms. "What did I do to deserve you?" "You saw me," Nia said simply. "The real me, not just the maid or the dancer. Just me." The night of the launch event arrived, and everything was perfect, except for Damien's absence. Nia moved through the crowd of investors and media with confidence, answering questions and ensuring everyone was enjoying themselves. But her eyes kept drifting to the entrance, hoping to see him. An hour into the event, her phone buzzed with a text from Damien. "Board meeting running long, not looking good, I'm sorry." Nia's heart sank, both for Damien and for herself. She had worked so hard on this event, and she wanted him to see it, to be proud of what she had accomplished. Then an idea struck her, a bold, potentially crazy idea. She quickly texted back, "Don't give up. I have a plan." 20 minutes later, Nia stood on the small stage that had been set up for the evening's entertainment. The crowd quieted as she tapped the microphone. "Good evening, everyone. I'm Nia Carter, event coordinator for Vega Enterprises. I want to thank you all for coming tonight to celebrate the launch of our exciting new Miami development." She paused, scanning the crowd of wealthy investors and media personalities. "Unfortunately, Mr. Vega is detained at an important board meeting. But while we wait for him, I'd like to share something with you all. A demonstration of what makes Vega Enterprises different from other development companies." Nia nodded to the DJ, who started playing a sensual, powerful beat. Then she stepped to the center of the stage where a gleaming pole had been installed, originally intended for a professional performer scheduled for later. The crowd murmured in surprise as Nia removed her blazer, revealing a shimmering top that would allow her to grip the pole. She kicked off her heels and approached the pole with the same confidence she had shown that first night at Damien's party. But this time, she wasn't dancing out of anger or defiance. This time she was dancing for him, to show everyone in the room what she had seen in Damien Vega that they had missed: strength, grace, authenticity. She climbed the pole with fluid movements, executing spins and holds that showcased both power and vulnerability. Each move told a story, their story, of two people from different worlds finding connection through honesty and courage. The room fell silent, except for the music. Every eye was on Nia as she performed with her whole heart, no longer afraid to be seen for who she truly was. What she didn't know was that Damien had just arrived, slipping in the back door in time to witness her dance. He stood transfixed, watching the woman he loved show the world the same strength and grace that had captivated him from the beginning. When Nia finished her routine and slid down to stand on her feet, the crowd erupted in applause. She caught her breath, scanning the room for any sign of Damien, And then she saw him moving through the crowd toward her with determination in his stride. He climbed onto the stage and took the microphone from her hand. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for my tardiness. I was held up at a board meeting where we were discussing the future of Vega Enterprises." The crowd quieted, eager for news. "I'm pleased to announce that the board has unanimously voted to remove Marcus Thompson as VP of Development due to corporate espionage." He paused as murmurs rippled through the audience. "And they have also unanimously endorsed our New York project, which will now move forward with even greater ambition than before." Applause broke out again. Damien turned to Naya, taking her hand. "But the most important announcement I want to make tonight is personal." His voice softened as he looked into her eyes. "This remarkable woman just demonstrated the qualities that make her special: strength, courage, and authenticity. The same qualities that made me fall in love with her the first time I saw her dance." Gasps and whispers filled the room. Nia felt tears forming in her eyes as Damien continued. "Nia Carter changed my life by showing me what real grace looks like, not just in movement, but in character, in the way she cares for her sister, in the way she works tirelessly for what matters, in the way she refuses to be anything but her authentic self." To Nia's shock, Damien dropped to one knee, still holding her hand. "I know this is fast and probably crazy, but when you know, you know. Nia Carter, will you marry me?" Time seemed to stop as Nia looked down at this man who had come into her life so unexpectedly, the man who had seen her, really seen her, when she was invisible to everyone else. "Yes," she whispered, then louder, "Yes!" Damien stood and pulled her into his arms, kissing her as the crowd erupted in cheers and applause. Later that night, after the successful event had wrapped up, they stood alone on the rooftop terrace of Damien's penthouse, the same place where they had first met. "I can't believe you proposed in front of all those people," Nia said, still dazed by the evening's events. "I can't believe you danced for me in front of all those people," Damien replied, pulling her close. "That was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." "I wanted them to see you the way I see you," Nia explained, "through something authentic and powerful." "And how do you see me?" Damien asked softly. "As someone who could have anything, but chooses what's real, who sees beyond the surface to what matters." She touched his face gently. "As the man I want to spend my life with. Even though I'm rich and arrogant," he teased. "Less arrogant now," Nia laughed, "and the rich part just means Amina can go to any dance program she wants." Damien grew serious. "I want you to know that I meant what I said before. We can take this as slowly as you need. The engagement can be as long as you want." "Actually," Nia said, surprising herself, "I don't want to wait too long. Life is short, and when you find what's real, you should hold on to it, like you said that first night, when you reminded me how real femininity moves." "Exactly," Nia smiled up at him, "though I have to admit, I never expected that line to lead to a proposal." Damien laughed. "Life is full of surprises." He gestured to the pole that still stood in the center of the rooftop. "Like finding out the woman cleaning up after your party is actually the woman you've been waiting for your whole life. And like discovering that the arrogant millionaire hosting the party is actually the man who will help you believe in yourself again," Nia added. Under the Miami stars they kissed, two people from different worlds who had found in each other exactly what they needed: strength, authenticity, and a love that moved with grace through all of life's challenges. 1 month later, Amina received her formal acceptance to Juilliard's undergraduate program with a full scholarship. And 6 months after that, on the same rooftop where they first met, Nia and Damien were married in an intimate ceremony surrounded by those they loved. For their first dance as husband and wife, Nia surprised everyone by leading Damien to the pole that now stood as a symbol of their beginning. Together, they performed a simple but beautiful routine they had practiced in secret, him supporting her as she executed graceful spins, her trusting him completely as they moved as one. As Rosa watched with tears in her eyes, she whispered to Carlos, "She danced, and he fell, but this time they're flying together." And they were, into a future built on the strongest foundation of all, two people who had the courage to be exactly who they were, and to love each other not despite their differences, but because of them. The end.